Okay, Hawks. So we finished learning about counting. Now we need to learn how to balance. And so again, at the end of this lesson, you will be able to balance chemical equations by correctly adding coefficients as needed. Okay? So to balance a reaction, we add coefficients to the molecules, then recount. When the counts become equal, the reaction is balanced. Okay, so here's an example. We counted out the number of atoms on each side, the reactant side and the product side. Then we added a coefficient here and we recounted that particular part of it, right? So we recounted to make sure that now it's the same, okay? Coefficients are added because they cannot change, you cannot change the formula of a reactant or a product, only the amount of it. So, for example, if you wanted to make a peanut butter sandwich, you can't change the peanut butter and expect to have more than one sandwich. You need to be able to change the individual parts of it, right? If I changed the actual formula of peanut butter, it wouldn't be peanut butter anymore. So I need to keep that formula the same, but I need to up the amount of peanut butter I'm going to use, as well as the bread. The bread stays the same, but I need to up the number of pieces of bread if I want more than one sandwich. So that is why we use coefficients and we don't change the subscripts. Okay. Some tips and tricks in balancing. First, when you try to balance in this order: metals, then non-metals, then hydrogen, and then do oxygen last. Okay, because you'll find oxygen is the hardest one. Okay. Always write out an inventory list. So that's similar to what they've done here. Okay, so they have written out how many of each atom there are, and they're working with that list. Okay, so and then make adjustments to other atoms, make sure that, you know, if you're putting a coefficient on, that you're making adjustments to those atoms as well. If everything balances except for oxygens, double all of your coefficients and then try again. Okay. And then the last one is polyatomic ions that appear on both sides of the equation can be balanced as a group. Okay, I have an example of that at the end of this video, so I'll explain that a little bit better when we get there. Okay, so let's look at an example.
Okay, so here's our first example. And remember, the first thing we do is we count, right? We make sure that we know how many of each atom there are. So I have an H, and there's 3. And then I have a P, and there's 1. Then I have an O, and there's 4. Then I have a K, that's 1. And my O here adds to the 4, and my H adds to the H. So I have 4, 1, 5, and 1. And then on the other side, I have 3 Ks, 1 P, 4 O's, 2 H's, and 1 more O. So here I have 2 and 1 and 5 and 3. Okay? So, second step is to balance the equation. So, what you need to do is add coefficients in front of the compounds. Okay? And remember, those little hints said start with the metal. So, K, or potassium, is my metal. Okay? And this side has 3, and this side has 1. So I'm going to add a 3 in front of the KOH. Okay? Now I have to fix my numbers so that my numbers are correct. So I still have 3 and 1 and 4, but now I have 3 K's because I'm multiplying by 3, and I have 3 O's, and then I have 3 H's. So now I have 6, 1, 7, 3. Okay? I haven't done anything on this side, so my numbers stay the same. So my K's balance, my P's balance, but my H's don't. So what I might need to do is multiply this side by 3, right? So I can put a 3 in front of the H2O. Okay, so that changes this side to 3K, 1P, 4 O's, 6 H's, and 3 more O's. So now if I look at it, I have 6, 1, 7, 3. And if I look at these numbers, now they're the same. So this means it's balanced. The last thing we have to do is fill in the blanks, right? The ones that are still blank. And in a normal reaction, in a normal, like if you've seen it written out, these blanks would just go away, right? And you would just have nothing in front of it. However, Schoology being the way that it is, we cannot leave a blank open. So instead of leaving it just blank, I want you to write a 1 in that blank, okay? So it's saying that it has a coefficient of 1, right? It's not going to change our numbers at all because we're just taking this compound, one of those compounds, okay? And so in the end, what we're saying is we have 1 H3PO4 plus 3 KOHs, and out of that we're going to get 1 K3PO4 and 3 waters. Okay? So there's an example. So you should now be able to balance equations. I will post a few more examples that, that you can go back and look at.